Hello and welcome to our summer road trip podcast. We are back for another week, digging deeper into Sunday's message. And again, my name is Joel. Today I am joined by Ryan. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, thanks, Joel. Glad to be here with you. So as we're traveling today, it just reminds me, like, what's one of the craziest or one of the worst things that's ever happened, or maybe even the funniest thing that's ever happened on one of your road trips?
So after I graduated from college, Tara and I moved to Texas, and I can remember the day that we packed up everything into the U-Haul, and we're driving, and we knew we weren't going to make it all the way in one day, and so we were going to stay the night somewhere and then finish the drive the next day. And I wanted to go as far as we could that first day, and I made the mistake. We were driving through Little Rock, Arkansas, and we should have stopped in Little Rock, but I said, let's keep going a little bit further. And for like several hours, there was like nothing along the way. And finally, we saw this hole-in-the-wall hotel on the side of the road. And we are exhausted and tired. And we get there, we get our room. And I mean, it is just, picture the worst room imaginable. And that's what it was. It was like, we didn't even turn the lights on. We just collapsed and fell asleep. We wake up the next day and there's light shining through. And it was just like, this is the most disgusting place I've ever been in my life. Like the sheets were that yellow color that's like, man, it was not good. And so we're like, let's just get out of here as quick as we can. We go out, the U-Haul has a flat, so we got to get that fixed. And it was just like, man, we should have stopped a couple hours earlier. But we look back now and it's a memory that we can smile at. But at the time, it was disgusting, and we were ready to be out of that place. So I'm sure there are nice people in Arkansas. I don't hold that against them, but when I think of Arkansas, I think of our miserable time. So it's not my favorite place to be. What about you? What would you say is like a funny or even just a road trip memory you have that turned out good or maybe not so good?
Man, I have a few, and I kind of was thinking through what to share, and I got two of them that come to my mind real quick. But I'm going to share one because it's kind of funny, but yet kind of like, wow, Dad type thing. So we were heading. My sister and brother-in-law and brother-in-law were living over in Dayton, Ohio, and our kids Bailey and Lucas were a lot younger, pretty young, and it was late. It was after work. We were traveling. It's getting dark. We run in to go to take a bathroom break at a gas station, restaurant area. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we go in and we do our thing, come out, and all of a sudden I'm getting ready to go on the ramp to get onto the highway again, and next thing you know, there's lights behind me. I'm getting pulled over, and I'm like, what in the world? I just literally got on the ramp. So the officer comes up and he says, hey, why didn't you stop at the stop sign back at such and such street? And I just looked at him and I was like, yeah, I don't, if there was a stop sign on that street, I didn't see it, so I'm sure I ran it. And so the kids are getting a little irritated and starting to cry. And so he takes my license back and comes back, and the kids are pretty much crying. And he gives me my license back, and I think by then he's realized, like, hey, I gotta let these guys go. And he's like, we stop at stop signs over here in Ohio. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I will next time if I see it. But the trip goes on, and so we're on our way further down the highway, and we finally get to our destination, which is a hotel. And so it's late, like I said, and we're trying to scramble to get into the hotel, and it's dark. And I just remember Bailey has like a pillow or some kind of a stuffed animal or something that she is kind of wrapped up in and kind of half asleep, and she's walking through the parking lot, and all of a sudden I think she just tripped over something, and boom, straight down and just scuffed up her face. And it's like, man, just like we just wanted to travel a few hours to go see our sister and brother-in-laws, and it just was like just not happening at all the way we expected.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of one of those memories like you just never forget.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
absolutely. I thought you were going to share the time we were in Guatemala and you were in the back of the van and you just threw up all over me.
Well, that one was going to be, but
a different story for a different day.
It's better told by somebody else, because then I could just sit back and laugh at myself.
Yeah, because you weren't laughing at the time.
No, I wasn't. But
you were pretty miserable.
if you want to know more about that story, ask me sometime. Or ask Taylor or Joel.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It reminds me that nobody leaves on a road trip hoping that things go wrong. But sometimes you look back and it becomes the most memorable part of the trip, and there you can laugh at it now. You can laugh about, getting pulled over now. It probably wasn't funny at the time.
No.
I definitely wasn't excited about the roach infested motel that we stayed at, but you look back now and you can smile about it.
Yeah.
And we see that sometimes life on the road, it goes wrong. We saw that in Acts 14 this past Sunday.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really stood out to me was Paul didn't see hardships as failure. And I think a lot of the time as believers, we have this faulty assumption that, if it's difficult, that means I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. And the thing of it is our culture says like comfort. That's our goal in life. We want to be comfortable.
Yep. And Paul's missionary journeys show that, man, that's just not the way that life is like for a follower of Jesus most of the time, that hardships will come. Paul goes to Lystra and Derbe, and there's opposition that follows him as he goes. He performs a miracle, and he gets mistaken for a god, and then he gets left for dead after being stoned by this group, and yet he keeps moving forward. And the hard road, it's not evidence that God has abandoned him. The hard road is evidence that God is working.
Yeah. So they went back to those same cities.
Yeah. Isn't that remarkable that, we would be like, I'm never going back there, right?
Right.
And he goes right back to where he just got left for dead a short time earlier. And I think what's encouraging is he retraces the hardest parts of his journey, because these new churches that he just started, these new believers that came to faith and were excited about following the Lord, that mattered more to him than his own safety. That mattered more to him than his own comfort. And so what I'd encourage everyone to do this week, as you gather around the dinner table, or you spend some time as a family, or maybe you're going for a walk if the weather's nice, is just talk about what is a hard thing that God might be using to do something good in your life right now. On Sunday we ask you to name the season you're in right now. What hard thing are you going through? And maybe for you it's a disappointment. Maybe it's a struggle that you're having right now with some friends. It might be a difficult relationship. It might be a challenge that you're facing at work, or a season of waiting. Maybe you're getting impatient. But don't just ask, how can I get out of this? Ask, what might God be doing in me through this? Yeah,
that can completely change the view of our difficult seasons, like how we view them.
Yep. So here's your action this week. Here's what we would love to do, because our goal in spending some time together on the road throughout the week is to make this intensely practical. How can we take the truths that we're hearing on Sunday and live it out on a Wednesday? Because that's where real impact happens. And so I'd encourage you, just as a family, take 5 minutes and talk about one challenge that each of you are facing. And once you name that challenge, answer the question, what might God be growing in me through this? And we don't want to just have you ask that question. I think it'd be good for us to talk about that too. And so, Ryan, if you would just be honest, like, what's a challenge you're facing right now, and what might God be growing in you through this?
Yeah, so I've been reading through the book of Psalms with a group of people on the YouVersion Bible app, and one thing that's really been hitting me hard is waiting. The waiting, like when we pray, and the waiting in the prayers. And one thing that I've learned, and I've really been working on, and I think God's trying to teach me in this, is in our waiting is the training to be able to trust Him for our answers, that He's going to answer our prayers with. And so don't get stuck in the waiting, just thinking like, okay, he's not answering me, I'm going to do this to overcome it.
Yeah.
But wait and understand the training that he's trying to teach you in that moment, because as soon as you gather all that, he's going to release that knowledge to you, that answer to you, and you have to be able to trust him for that. And so the waiting, there's so much in the waiting. And when you look at waiting throughout the book of Psalms, there's so many words that go in front of it or behind the word waiting. And so just a lot of things that he's been teaching me. And so that's where I'm right now at. And,
that's good.
And I'm really enjoying the study through the book of Psalms.
Yeah, that's good.
How about you? What about you?
I think for me is, I think of this journey of parenting, and there are times when your kids are younger and you can't wait till they get to this next stage where they've got more responsibility or more maturity or whatever. And now I'm getting to the place where it's like they're growing up right before your eyes, and it just happens so quickly. And so one of the things that I'm having a hard time with is seeing your kids get older and becoming more independent, and they rely less and less on you, which is good in some ways, but it's also like, man, we're counting down. We only have this many summers left before they're on their own, and you're there, right? Your kids have moved past that stage. 4.5
weeks, but I'm not counting. 4.5 weeks. Love you, Bailey.
So for me, I'm just kind of, the hardship is just trusting God in this season as your kids gain independence. Understanding that they're going to be making their own choices, and you can't make every choice for them, but trusting that the work that we're doing in raising them the way that God would have us to, that's all gonna pay out. And so for me, just trusting God in this season is huge. And I would say for everybody, as you talk about this as a family, write down, what is it that God's trying to grow in me through this? For me, it's trust. For you, it might be patience or courage or faith or waiting or compassion, whatever it is. Write that down and then put it somewhere where you're going to see it, and let it remind you that, as we've talked about, that God doesn't waste hard times. He uses them. Yeah. And when we remind ourselves of what God's doing and working in our life, we'll see that more and more. And so as you go throughout this week, I just want to encourage you, faithfulness is not about avoiding the hard roads of life. It's about continuing to walk with Jesus even when it gets difficult. This Sunday, we're going to be in Acts chapter 15. If you want to get a head start and read that before you come, we're going to see the Jerusalem Council. We pause in the missionary journey. This is in between the first missionary journey and the second missionary journey. But we see the biggest argument in the early history of the church, and how the church leaders handle it is remarkable. It's Father's Day this Sunday. We hope that you'll be here. Bring your dad. Worship as a family. It's going to be a great message. We'll see you this Sunday. We'll see you next week for our next Summer Road Trip podcast. Until then, remember, God doesn't waste the hard roads. He uses them. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.